Hey, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Nerd on. I'm officially doing a post commentary for you guys today. We're gonna be talking a little bit about Armored Kill, and then I'm gonna give you guys my brief opinion about the matter, and basically the gist of how I've been perceiving Armored Kill these last few days. It's been about 3 days since Armored Kill released on at least PC and console, or at least Xbox 360 for that matter, on the console side. And there's been a lot of things that have been talked about and disputed, and many ideas have been thrown around the community to adjust or alter a certain vehicle's, overall, I guess you'd call success, or at least how it's, implemented into the game. But before we get right into that, guys, I'm going to give you guys the main gist of what I'm using in this gameplay. And overall, I found it to be a very good setup. I would highly recommend it. But in the same regard, there are better setups in Battlefield 3. So don't take this one as an overpowered setup or anything of that, stature. But I'll be using the ACWR with a red dot and a flash suppressor. And I find that these setups work very well together. I find that the ACWR is a very well, constructed gun out of just, flat out with no attachments. But when you add, the flash suppressor, there is the ability to decrease 50% vertical recoil. But the ACWR doesn't really have a lot of recoil to start out with. So it's, in your best interest to either A, use it, or you can, kind of experiment with other attachments. Maybe the heavy barrel might be something that you might be interested in, but that's something that from your personal preference and your abilities to search for the specified attachment of your choice, that'd be something that you'd have to work out and find that if that's something that you'd be interested in. I'm also going to be using the MP443 with a suppressor, and as I've stated in many commentaries and stuff like of that nature, I like this weapon a lot, but it's definitely not the best. So if you're looking for the better pistols in Battlefield 3, I'd go with like a Magnum, and the Rex, the 93R, stuff like that. The M1911 is very good now. It's about the medium damage pistol. So those are probably your top four pistols you'd probably be seeing or using. I'll be using the small launcher and the repair torch. And with all that I've said, it's all consistent within the engineer class. So, it's an engineer thing, and we are playing Armored Kill. Something that also I found interesting is, or not really interesting, but I gotta give you guys the map real quick. I'll be playing on Death Valley with 100% tickets, and this is also going to be rushed, so I think there's a total of 5 bases, 2 sets of crates for each one, so a total of 10, I want to say. I think, if I'm correct, Death Valley does have 5 sets of sights, so it's either 5 or 4. Don't hold me completely to that, but part of me is wanting to say 5. So something I wanted to bring up real quick before we jump right into it. I'm sure maybe some of you guys have noticed that the videos are starting to show up in 1080p, and I haven't really given you guys a reason for that. One night I was, kind of playing around and getting ready for Armored Kill, and this is probably like the 10th of this month, so, it's been about 4 days, and I kind of just, put on 1080 for my TV again, and I was going to see if the file size has really changed a whole lot, and I haven't really noticed anything, but I do realize when I do render that the rendering process does take significantly longer. So I'm just curious, do you guys want me to upload in 1080p and it's going to take longer for videos to get rendered, but you're not going to really tell because I have an entire day to, get the video out for you guys? But if that seems like something you'd be interested in, let me know. Or maybe if 720p is just fine for you and it's a lot faster for me personally to render and stick on YouTube, that's also a choice. So if you guys would take a few seconds and just let me know which one you prefer. I do realize that 1080p looks a lot better for Battlefield 3, but that's a personal, preference level. So if that's something you're interested in, just let me know, and I will take the feedback from my subscriber or my database and implement it into, further videos. So now I'm going to take this time and I'm going to talk about Armored Kill. Armored Kill, brought with new game types, new attachments for vehicles, again, new vehicles, which, that's pretty cool. I think we can all agree that that's something that kind of changes Battlefield 3, and it's a little different for all the maxed out players or people that are, higher in their level system. It's a little bit different going back and actually seeing yourself unlock stuff, because that doesn't really happen when you're kind of already maxed out. So it's kind of cool. It's definitely gives the game new life. But Battlefield 3, I just want to talk about basically the top 3 game types in Battlefield 3, at least the ones that are most played, at least the ones I would consider to be the most played in my own eyes. So, to start off with, Rush is, nothing too different about Rush. Rush is the same thing. It's been 4 years. But in an overall stature, when you play Rush on the new maps, I do find that the AC-130 is a little annoying, to be completely honest. And if you're going to ask, is it overpowered? Part of me wants to say yes, because there's really no cover when you're on defense. I mean, if you look at the beginning of this gameplay and you look towards the end, a lot of the buildings you have are either A, they're completely destructible. 2, there's propane tanks all over the maps. I mean, 3, I guess you could say. I mean, there's just crap everywhere. There's not really anywhere to hide, which is really unfortunate. I don't know if they planned to do that and made it so that the AC-130 could excel with the 105mm shell. But in the same regard, I guess that's kind of realistic in a sense. There's not really buildings in real life that are like, hey, I got hit by a ginormous, missile, I'm going to be okay. So, I completely understand where they're coming from, but in the same regard, I don't know if the AC-130 is really classified as overpowered or if it's just considered annoying. In my eyes, I want to say it's overpowered, but I do realize that PC guys have no problem. Literally, the AC-130, from what I've seen on PC gameplays, literally last about 15 seconds. So, I don't really know if it's just the console side due to the reason that we have, quite a bit reduced players. We have about 1/3 of the amount of players that PC has. But in the same regard, it's kind of conflicting to figure if it's overpowered or not. But I've also seen now, and we're about 3 days into Armored Kill, that the AC-130 on console is actually starting to get destroyed a lot faster than it was day one. Day one, I swear to God, that thing would stay up forever. Like, if you got into the seat on day one and you knew how to use your flares, you had no problem going, probably 5 to 10 minutes in the AC-130 per life. But now I figure that a lot of people are starting to figure out that it's a giant threat, and it can destroy your, your overall score, your moral to do well. And I just find that it gets destroyed a lot faster than it used to. So that's a benefit. I'm sure you guys have had no problem since day one getting that fucking thing out of the sky. But for console, we're still a little bit behind on players, obviously. But we will catch up, and I think that the AC-130 is going to get a little bit of a nerf here soon. So that should be interesting to see how that gets implemented into effect. And I'm sure DICE will do their very best to hopefully get it balanced out a little bit better, especially since you can airdrop behind enemy lines. That is ridiculously stupid, but I don't make the rules, so I just pass on my general opinion. So with all that said, Tank Superiority is a game type that consists of 6v6 on tanks, and then you have anywhere between another 6 to 20, what does PC have? You guys would have like 24 then? 24 players that either can go ground infantry, jump inside the tank, repair, shoot javelins, basically PTFO at least, or attempt to. And from what I've seen from gameplays, I think everyone really enjoys Tank Superiority. I haven't really heard a lot of people complain about it or say that it's broken or anything. But I do personally think if you're a PC guy, I'm sure you guys would probably agree on this matter. I think you guys need more vehicles. I think you guys need to have anywhere between like maybe 10 to 15 tanks or something like that. Maybe they're not all tank destroyers, but you guys at least need some transport vehicles or something like that. I saw a video, and I swear this guy drove by like 7 people just sprinting up this hill, and I was like, oh, that's gotta suck, especially since Armored Kill maps are so huge that I couldn't imagine they were having very much fun. So I feel like maybe you guys should have, maybe like 6 destroyers, maybe like, I don't know, 5 or something, MBTs or something, because the MBTs are really weak against the tank destroyers. Like, the tank destroyers just rape MBTs like normal tanks. But in the same regard, MBTs are really good against infantry, while the tank destroyers are not as well against, foot units or, foot soldiers in a sense. So I feel like there should be some more balancement for PC. I think console has it pretty good. I think we're okay on the amount of vehicles, because I think if we had too many, I think that capturing flags will be, or capturing the one centralized flag will become a very big issue. And in the same regard, I feel like the overall objective would get lost and no one would care, because as it stands right now, the objective is kind of something you go for right at the beginning of the game, and then you kind of just like leave it alone for the rest of it, and you kind of back off of it and set up a perimeter. So, in my mind, I think console's okay, but I think PC could use a little bit more love on their amount of vehicles, or at least, add some other things in there. I was really surprised how they didn't implement any mobile artillery units into tank superiority. I thought that would kind of be the entire purpose of it, but hopefully maybe something will be added later on, or maybe they'll open their eyes and realize that adding just MBTs and tank destroyers was maybe not enough or something like that. But that's my overall opinion. Maybe you guys really enjoy how the loadout is currently, and that is very, that's satisfying. Now, it's good to know that at least maybe that's how you like it, and maybe many others just like you. But from what I've seen, I think PC could use a little bit more love on the tank superiority department. So in the same regard, Conquest plays very well on PC. From what I've heard from a lot of the bigger YouTubers, I'm sure a lot of you guys watch them as well as me. And, they seem to really be enjoying the Armored Kill expansion pack, but I have realized for console, Conquest is kind of lacking in its overall potential, I guess you would say in a sense. I do realize that the scale is reduced, to fit it better for combat zones and, just action in general. But I feel like Conquest just doesn't really play that well on console in the first place from what I've seen. And I've played my fair share of Conquest, believe it or not, as much as I want to disregard it in all means necessary. I have actually played it. I'm not just speaking out my ass per se, but in the same regard, I feel like Conquest just needs to be a little bit more reduced on Armored Kill, even more. I feel like it's already too big, and I feel like if I have to drive for 5 minutes without seeing anyone on a main road, it's kind of taken away from the overall action or the perspective of how the game could perform at a higher, rate or velocity. But that's my opinion. Maybe some of the console guys really enjoy how tactical, I guess it could be placed as, or how much action is reduced or something of that category. But from what I've seen from console gameplay, at least, I think it could use a little bit more love. And PC, from what I've seen, I think you guys are really enjoying it. I think it plays very well on PC. And overall, a lot of things really do play very well on PC, just to be completely honest, for at least Battlefield 3. So in that regard, I guess that's my overall opinion about the three game types that I kind of discussed. Rush is a little bit still a little broken. I think the AC-130 still needs its little patch, and then I think Rush will be great. But again, the AC-130 as it stands right now is not lasting terribly long, but I still think that it doesn't need as much health, or it needs to be more damage or something like that. I'm not talking like let's say it takes 6 stingers now. I don't think that's right. I think it takes 5. But let's say you go from 5 stingers to maybe 4. One less stinger, well, that more focuses upon how you flare, how you time your flares, how you, take out more threat targets, stuff like that. I don't think that it needs to be able to absorb a complete dick amount of, stingers and shit like that. But that's my opinion. Again, maybe you guys have a different view on the matter, and I would love to know your guys' overall opinion about the AC-130 just in general. I know it's a very touchy topic to talk about. I know a lot of people really enjoy it, but I do realize that a lot of people want to blame the AC-130 for the failure of Armored Kill, and in no means necessary am I trying to say that Armored Kill was a fail. I really enjoy it, and I really want to play it as much as possible and get as much gameplays as I can from it, but I do find it to be very stress-inducing when you're getting constantly spawned behind, shot by 105mm shells, spammed, stuff like that. And I'm sure this isn't a huge issue for PC, as I've stated before, but for console, that's where my main Justin opinions are coming from. So with that said, guys, I just kind of want to give you guys a little bit of the upload schedule here for the weekend, because it is currently Friday as the making of this commentary. So I plan to upload, obviously, Battlefield 3, Armored Kill, maybe a little bit not Armored Kill, give a little bit of, close quarters a little bit of love. I do realize that's not something that's, hugely played anymore, or hugely uploaded, I guess you would say, in a general sense, at least not from what I've seen. So I'll give that a little bit of love. I'm sure you guys will be seeing your fair share of Grand Bazaar gameplays and Metro and stuff of that nature. But that's it really for Battlefield 3. I've been getting a little bit into COD here lately with a couple of guys, basically my old COD friends, and we've been having a lot of fun playing that. I don't really know how much you guys will see from Call of Duty. I'm still not a Call of Duty guy, and the content that you guys will see from that is either going to be very limited to maybe 1 or 2 games, maybe, or maybe none at all, to be completely honest. But just let me know if you guys would like to see Call of Duty. I know that's something that Battlefield and Call of Duty don't exactly see eye to eye, so I understand if my Battlefield crowd is not, really willing to watch Call of Duty. That is perfectly fine, believe me. I've had my fair share of watching those, and I don't even watch them anymore. But if that's something that you guys are, willing to give a try, or just really willing to watch, or something of that stature, just let me know, and I will get a few gameplays for you guys, and we can maybe chill and have some fun. So before I get right off to the ending, I do want to talk about something really fast before this gameplay comes to an end. I am currently working on my first guide video for the new Armored Kill tank. I don't want to give too much information, but hopefully that'll come out this weekend, and I'm hoping it'll be a very good success for you guys. Somebody did write me and give me their feedback in a personal message, and I don't want to say anything or anything like that, but he was very nice, and overall I'm going to try a couple new things with this channel, and hopefully it'll get a different perspective, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it as a better channel and get more out of it on a day-to-day basis. But this is going to be Nerd Mode On, signing off a little bit early, guys. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys later.